Radhare Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Brajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Brajana Ranjana Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Vihare Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Jagatguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Chandra Premanande. Hare Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Sanjeev Prabhu, you are in Melbourne.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. So you're taking the weather with you. You want to send the weather, Melbourne weather to here.
Yeah, it's very nice weather here.
Yeah.
But I heard that the storm is coming there, so.
Well, you can take our weather if you want to.
Sorry, you're muted, Sanjay Prabhu, sorry.
You're muted, Sanjay Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, sorry, Prabhuji. I was just, I was in travel with my family.
Yeah.
They wanted to have a darshan in the temple. So
Okay,
I just came here, brought them here in temple. But it's not open yet.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, well. Hare Krishna. So would you like to start with your realization, Prabhuji, as usual? You prepared something?
Prabhuji, I was in travel, so I didn't prepare much. Last week, we celebrated. First of all, thank you very much, Prabhuji, for giving me the chance to speak. And thank you very much for organizing this class. Yes, Prabhuji, as we celebrated Lord Nityanand Prabhu's appearance day, I wanted to prepare something, but I couldn't. I didn't get a chance, Prabhuji. Sorry about that. But yes, I wanted to send a message that I won't be able to give much of the realization. But okay, is it all right, Prabhuji, if I can speak a little bit later? So maybe.
Okay, no problem. That's all right. You gather your thoughts then. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
This is the front courtyard, you know. With it, yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. It is.
Okay, all right. Maybe as devotees are still coming,
Yes.
we can continue. I can share a few things. So these realizations are a very important part of a devotee's life, you know, and lifestyle, where for ordinary people, when there is suffering, when they suffer, then it is suffering. You know? They are in constant pain. They blame somebody, and usually they go and blame. If they cannot blame any living being, they'll go and blame God. You know, He did this. But a devotee is trained that whenever there is some kind of suffering, the devotee has himself, he looks inward and finds his own shortcomings. He gives all credit to Krishna, the Supreme Creator, but he gives all everything wrong that has happened to him for his own self, you know, his own karma. Today, more and more living beings, they are accepting the concept of karma, you know. So it's nothing new. The concept of karma is nothing new. I remember in my offices, ordinary people, you know, would be atheists or be Christians or Muslims or whichever way they were, you know, in New Zealand, they all accept the concept of karma. You know? you get the result of what you sow, you know, very simple. It's no complications, you know. So, and this storm also that is coming now in New Zealand, in Northland, for which there's state of emergency declared while we are having this program, and that is also part of the Adi-Daivik problem, you know? And you'll find that those who had to suffer will suffer, but those who don't have to suffer, they will still be protected in these storms. It's interesting how that happens. Like in Turkey, you have a case where a small child was born, you know, in that rubble. You see, so even in that devastation where so many thousands of people died, they have this protection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember, Prabhuji, in one instance, Srila Prabhupada was telling that there was a big famine in Kolkata, and people didn't have food, rice, but the devotees of the Lord were somehow, they managed, and they were always protected by the Lord.
Yes.
So,
yes,
as you rightly said.
Absolutely right. And somehow it is managing, you know, they say we can manage things. So this is very subtle, and people require that time to understand this and experience it, you know. And it is very hard for people to actually give that time for themselves. You know? Somehow or other, we find it that those who can give that time, where they can slowly and steadily continue, you know, continue to come in the programs, they can experience this part. Otherwise, it's very hard.
People here, I met some people,
things, you know?
some people here that it's totally some people, they're not even a little bit inclined to spirituality. They're taking everything for granted, and no, like sometimes they're making fun of God, fun of, oh, it's like this and like that, and they don't have any concept, like not little bit appreciation what they have. When you see the earthquakes coming and people are dying in different part of the world, it's all calamities happening, and uh, when we think about it, then how, because when I was there, like a couple of weeks ago, there was a big that flood, and a lot of properties gone damaged by water, and we were somehow been like unaffected of it. And I was thinking, like, so many people were affected because of this calamity, and it's just we need eyes to see Krishna's hand. Like, as it's mentioned that we should see Krishna's hand in everything. So yes, probably. Thank you.
Yeah, to see Krishna's hand. For that we require training, to see Krishna's hand. Sorry, I'm doing my work along with it, so it's a bit. I may be coming and going with my video. Yeah, now you can see me now. Okay, now all work is done. Okay, Prabhuji. All right. So who would like to now start with the realization? Please feel free. Looks like we'll have there are a few devotees who are not able to make it. We will know soon. You, Sridhar Prabhu. Sridhar Prabhu, can you give a realization, please?
Hare Krishna. 1 minute, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, I haven't prepared anything in particular on any topic, but there are quite a few realizations. Actually, I was thinking, over last few months. So actually, I would like to share them because I think it is a bit relevant to our programs. So actually, before I actually left to India, I think we had actually at my workplace, we had a competition, sort of, because it was a mental health week, and what we have been asked to do is to actually share the activities, what we do to actually maintain our actually mental health in proper shape, or what we're doing to actually help each other to actually stay in a good mental zone. So, and actually what they told us to actually upload different photographs of your activities and all that. So a lot of people actually uploaded photographs, actually many people uploaded actually photographs from the beach where they actually used to go every weekend with their family and friends and have good time. So, and some people uploaded, they had a good collection of different kind of shoes and different kind of articles, so they say that's what helped them de-stress after the long week of hard work and all that. And yeah, there are a lot of people also share the videos of actually adventure sport of bungee jumping and all that. And I was thinking actually what shall I do, and all these actually uploads getting a lot of likes, and so I said with the mental health, I said what we do is actually we chant, we chant every day, and we also try to actually do devotional activities, so that's what actually help us to actually, relieve our trace as well, material trace, and actually we try to actually associate with the holy name. So what I did actually, I grabbed some photographs from our actually Krishna festival, when we do the prasad distributions, and actually uploaded them, and I actually put the comments saying that this is what we do on actually every 6 weeks. We actually got a lot of volunteers from Hare Krishna weekend. We get together, we put our resources together, we cook actually very vegetarian meals, which is prasad, and we actually distribute to the needy people or anyone who actually would like to come and join our program, and that is free. So I put all that, and actually I hardly receive 1 or 2 likes, because all other people, they received a lot of different, likes, and they, what they call it, the hearts and all that. And 2 weeks later, so there was a selection process. 2 weeks later, there was a guy from HR, and actually the couple more. And surprising that they selected my post, and they said this is actually the best post, to actually that can actually contributing to the community as well as actually you're also mental health, and they really appreciated what we do. So they say this is a selfless activity, and there was actually a small award of actually $51, $50. So they also chose other 2 more, the 3 awards. So I got one of them. So I was thinking, so later actually the HR actually really came and talked to me and said, how come I didn't receive hardly any likes? How did I actually got the prize? So she told me that it's not about actually how many likes you get, it's actually they were looking for something meaningful, that they can actually able to share with other people as well. And I told them what we do, and she was said, actually, if you're actually really doing that meditation and all that, they say, they asked me that you can actually come and do it as in the company, people who are interested, you can try to teach them the meditation and all that. So that was actually very surprising, Prabhuji. So I realized, so even actually there are a lot of people who do not appreciate the actually devotional things that we do. But actually there's still some people who think, they do appreciate our activities. So that was a good realization, Prabhuji, for myself. I never thought they will actually select it, but I got that, and I told them actually I'm donating this $50 to the same charity. So they were very happy about that. So other Prabhuji realization actually from when I was in India, when I was actually traveling around, actually after I came back to New Zealand, I just reflected on the activities that I did, and actually, as most of you know, and I had some medical issues as well when I was there. But what I realized actually when I was there, actually when we actually planned our programs and all that, so initially means I had that actually a little bit pain and stuff, but later it was relieved, and we did our program and everything. That everything went well, 2 weeks, but there's no problems. And when I actually came back from Pune, then the problem started again. So I was thinking, how come, these things work out, When I was doing programs, actually my health was perfectly fine. You actually went to Pune, actually went to, Dehu, and I traveled other actually, Pandharpur even actually went back, and I was traveling quite a lot, and everything was fine. And after I came back, after 2 days later, my actually health was again little bit deteriorated. So, whenever what I realize, as Maharaj says, actually, when you're actually engaged in Krishna's activities, there is always a, Krishna is actually protecting you most of the time. And Prabhu, Maharaj always say, the program must go on. So even actually we were suffering, actually we tried to continue our program, and surprisingly, I didn't had much issues, we managed to do the programs and also Sunday programs, regular Sunday classes as well. So I was actually reflecting on that even yesterday, actually, because we had our Saturday program and there was a bit of a panic here in Auckland because of that storm that is coming in. And I was thinking to go and get some sandbags, I was also, because I know if if it's raining too, heavily, it may actually, cause some issues with the water and flooding. But again, I thought maybe, no matter what we do, we cannot really control the, nature, it's everything is Krishna's hands. So we go ahead with the program and let's see later on whatever we can do after that. So today I was actually running around and actually I shopped. I got some stuff, but hopefully, as long as Krishna's mercy is there, we can actually get through this problem as well. So actually, I was just reflecting, Prabhuji. What I realized is that when we do things, actually we are actually try to follow the instruction given by our Guru Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, and try to actually engage ourselves. The things surprisingly go well. And even when I had an operation, there was one more realization, Prabhuji, I had, because it was a simple operation, but I was a bit concerned because I know things can go wrong.
When you start, it always comes, Krishna is in the heart, Very good. Continue.
Yeah, when actually I was planned to actually do the operation, Prabhuji, means what I realized later on after many weeks that I've been through like so many issues, but actually help was always there, There are so many close actually relatives who are doctor, and they were helping me to actually guiding me through that. And when I decided to actually go ahead for the operation, and on the day actually when they told me that you will be given the anesthesia and all that, so this told me that you will be operated around 6 p.m. and they asked me to take everything off, all my possessions and clothes and everything. And I said, I insisted, I do not want to take my tulsi beads off. I want to like to keep them on. And initially, a lot of people, they resisted, all those actually the doctors who were actually preparing for the operation. They said, no one is allowed to keep anything on their body when you're actually going into operation theater. And then I said, okay, then finally I just took it out, and I just told my wife, just keep it with me and until I go there. And when I entered into the operation hall, then doctor came up and say, oh, you actually requested to keep that the necklace in your you wanted to want to have the necklace with you. And I said, yes, if I can, that would be really appreciated. Then he had a look, what is that? He asked me, and he said, tulsi bead, I think. Then he said, okay, you can have it, because it's not going to be a big issue, but normally we don't allow, but if you really insist, you can have that. So I had it, and then everything, actually operation was done, everything went well. So I was just praying, I was going into operation theater. I was just reciting the Lord Narasimha prayers and everything, and I was really wishing that I can have the kantimala, because normally say, even Prabhuji told us, always wear kantimala. And Srila Prabhupada's instruction also, I remembered that once Srila Prabhupada was telling his devotee, without kantimala, the tulsi beads, is very dangerous in this material world. You would be shaking in your boots, That's what Srila Prabhupada said. And at that time, when I actually heard that instruction, I didn't realize it, what that means. Is this material world is really fearful, fearsome, that we will not be safe at any moment, But Srila Prabhupada was very right, as we see, anything can happen at any moment. So Srila Prabhupada was instructing that we should always have, actually tulsi bead with us, and that actually will help us, if anything goes wrong, or you have to face the death or anything, that will help. So that's what I realized, Prabhuji. Actually, the prayers, they do work, when you pray intensely. So actually, even the smallest issues, we'll realize later, but it seems like, somebody is actually working in the background, or actually helping us get through. So that was my realization, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. So tell me why you did not get those many likes in your office project of mental health. What do you think? Why you didn't get those many likes?
I thought about it, Prabhuji, but normally people are they know actually, they know in their heart that actually these activities they're good, but they actually sometimes maybe they're actually probably ego in it. They do not want to appreciate it because I think people are complicated, Prabhuji, because some are jealous. They do not want to actually appreciate what actually other people are doing. And there are some only few likes. They actually people who like, they actually come and talk to me as well. But a lot of people are more actually they're very attracted to material things, like going on the beach, actually, doing the adventure sports and this and that. And that's what they do. And actually, what we do is really different. That stands out, in the crowd. And probably they're not very willing. They maybe do not want to accept that, ego comes in the place. That's what I thought, Prabhuji.
Yes, I think so as well. It's the ego part, because everybody likes to be normal, like what others do. Everybody else does.
Yeah.
So they don't like to be. They don't like to do things where somebody is doing. They are doing something, which is different. So everybody likes to walk their dog, and walk on the beach, and then this is what they show. This is what they thought that this is what people would like,
Yes.
rather than saying what is helpful for their mental health.
Mhm.
You see, this is where things become very complicated, Is it not so?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. So
Yeah,
true. It's actually.
to-
Yeah.
To get likes only, they do these things, Just to get likes, they do these things. So, but the purpose was different of your organization, So mental health and contributing to the society and all, So remember one thing, when you are in preaching, this is for general Krishna consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're just simple Krishna conscious, you're different from people, and people are going to be envious, Unknowingly, they become your envy for no reason. And you're doing such good things, so helping the society, And that was only one part of what you do. Once you start to preach, if you tell them this is my organization, they'll burn alive themselves. Till now, their heart is burning. But when they hear this is my organization, they'll burn. How can you have organized? What are you talking? What do you mean? I don't have it. I like to carry my dog's poo in my hand. And you are doing this, what nonsense is this, So that was very interesting. I just thought I'll just, have your opinion why people, yeah. But this is how social media has actually become very antisocial. It creates more depressing. You must go and tell your staff, your HR people, that this like business should stop.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because see, I got this award, but nobody liked, very few people liked, So actually, this will create more depression to people. I'm strong, tell them this way. The people may not put up all these things, to like, and all those things are going on, But anyway, they also have to show some involvement of people and all those things, But they convey the message that not your whole like is going to get you the award.
Yes. Yeah. She told me particularly, she said they're not looking into number of likes. Actually, they're looking for something meaningful that will actually help, the society and individuals. So.
Very nice. Very nice. All the best to you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So all glories to you, Prabhuji, on a Hare Krishna weekend.
All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much. Jai. Hare Krishna. Any more? Want to hear more? More. Realizations programs are wonderful, Yes. Who would like to volunteer now, please? Feel free to give your realizations. Thank you. And if you can also show yourselves your moon-like faces, it'll be wonderful. Please. Thank you. While others think about their participation and get some courage to speak. It's always very difficult to start off. Everybody is very jittery and very when it starts off, everyone wants to speak. It's hard time to stop everyone. But just this point, as people will think about their participation, I just have to add and convey one short story. That one day there were two people, two hunters had gone to the forest to hunt. So while they went to hunting, they were carrying guns. And you need to carry license to have your gun. So they went to the forest and they got down. So let's take a small break. They put their guns in the car, in their jeep, and they got out. They walked around a few minutes just to stretch their legs. From the jeep, about 10 meters, 20 meters from the jeep, they walked away. And I suddenly saw, they didn't notice there was a big lion, which is about 5 meters away from them. So they thought they don't have the gun. The gun is about 10 meters behind in the car, the guns. Now what to do? The lion is there. So one of them took out from the hip pocket the license for the gun. Use it. He said, "Look, I got license to use the gun." They showed it to the lion. So this is how most of the people are. That they don't want to do things themselves. And if somebody else is doing it, they say, "So what? Even I can do it." and let them do it. Let them do it. At the most, they show their license. Look, I can also do it. Well, that's right. You can also do it. Do it then. Who's stopping you? What is stopping you? So that's I just thought that's simple. Yes, please. Who would like to go next? Please feel free.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. On that note, I also want to share an incident. Like one day, like many years ago, I was in Auckland and I was doing chanting in the park, and the level of jealousy, like I want to share that one person is a Indian gentleman, like older person, is from Sikh religion, and he just came to me and he seen me doing chanting, and then he said, "Oh, this chanting won't going to help you," and this is he was trying to say that this is useless what you're doing, and then he was telling stories, and I was thinking myself, I was just doing quietly, I'm not telling anybody to do anything, and he probably thinking, I don't know what's in his mind. He was just trying to convince me that what he's doing is inferior. It's very like it's not good. So yeah, it is rightly so. It's like sometimes jealousy, ego of people, and transcendental mellow. Maharaj said that please be careful that to be transcendental to material life does not mean that you should be careless in material life. No, 24 hours a day, you should be very grateful to your responsibility.
I think your connection is a bit wobbly. Your connection is not very clear.
Oh, okay. I'll just move around.
Yeah.
Might be a bit good reception.
Yeah. No, now you've gone. You're frozen now.
Is it okay now, Prabhu?
Yeah. Try in one place and see what happens. Yeah.
Is it okay there now?
Yeah. Please continue.
Did you hear the transcendental mellow, Prabhu? Should I read it again?
Again, Prabhuji, I think your screen is frozen now. Yes, read it again.
Okay. Okay. So the mellow is like this. Please be careful that to be transcendental to material life does not mean that you should be careless in material life. No, 24 hours a day, you should be very wakeful to your responsibility. Yeah. So Maharaj is saying that, yes, so sometimes like people think that, oh, you're following Hare Krishna or you're doing Bhakti Yoga or you're following Bhakti, then it's not good, you know. It's not like you not be, maybe you're not doing your responsibilities correctly, like your material life. Like you're ignoring your family or you not taking care of your family or you're going away, you know, or you're running away from your responsibility. But it's the other way around, as Maharaj said that no, it's like you be extra careful, like you'll be more careful with your responsibilities, more serious about responsibilities rather than running away from your responsibilities. This is same like if we following our sadhana, so it's in no circumstances we should be uh, lacking in sadhana. In wherever Amrish Prabhu always said that bhakti is very dynamic. So no situation can stop your sadhana. Wherever you can follow bhakti. So yes, Prabhuji. So that's what I realized, that it's very dynamic. It's not restricted to one place. Like, okay, I'll be there, then I can only do it. No, wherever am I, or I can show others as well what I'm doing, and people are curious. Some of them, and like in where I'm staying, the other relatives coming, my sisters, and they were asking, "Oh, what are you doing? What's that? And what's the meaning of this?" And they were asking questions. So it's a good way to preach as well, and showing them what you're doing, and showing is the best preaching, I think, in Kali Yuga, as Srila Prabhupada shown us by his acharan, his acharya. So when you're following seriously, so people look at you, people observe what you're doing. So yes, Prabhupada, that's my realization.
Yes, thank you very much, Sanjay Prabhu, for a nice realization. That's quite true. And Maharaj, this point which you quoted, this is a very speciality of Maharaj in the whole of ISKCON. At that time, where this was revolutionary to say that you should not be neglectful for you cannot be transcendental if you are neglectful of your material duties. So, and here we find many times that devotees are, they neglect their parents or their responsibilities and all that. That's not what Maharaj used to say. And that is really, really great information. So many devotees still appreciate that point of Guru Maharaj. So many. And very, very practical, very, very practical about things. Yeah, practical things. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Any more? Who would like to go next to share your realizations? Keep coming. Hare Krishna, the stormy weather.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Srila Prabhu. Thank you, Sanjay Prabhu, for giving your nice realizations. My realization is it's actually a bit related to what Srila Prabhu was talking about. But in it's based on discussion that we participate in, Hare Krishna weekend participates in. It's called WARP. It's called a WARP program, in which it's an interreligious discussion between various religious groups that come in and that they discuss on a particular theme every month. There's a session, and there's a panel of speakers, including ourselves, in which we answer certain questions that are posed to us, and then there's a little question and answer session as well at the end. So the last session was based on places of worship and what that signifies for us, etc., etc. So basically, in that discussion, I was giving an overview of our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, and I also made a point that this world is a temporary place, and everything that we're doing here is temporary, and we're all under illusion, and we're all suffering. And that point in particular about we are suffering. There was one question from one of the panelists there who did not buy it at all. They were really, in fact, they were quite opposed to that idea of we are suffering. And she was saying there are so many people who are very happy, even though they're in very bad situations, etc., etc. And she was saying they're not suffering; they're making the most of the situation. And there's so many people who find ways to be happy, etc., etc. And then she asked me, so how do you answer to that? I mean, I don't believe that we are suffering, so how can you say that we are suffering? And so I answered saying that, well, you're looking for happiness in a temporary place, in a place that is prone to suffering. Everyone is suffering. Everyone grows old. Everyone has problems in their life. Not everyone will go through their entire life. In fact, not anyone will go through their entire life without problems. And so if you're looking for happiness, temporary happiness, you're looking at happiness for temporary things. And also when Srila Prabhupada was talking about his realization, I'm sort of tying that into this too, that everyone's sharing their photos of going to the beach or doing this, doing that, doing material activities. They're all temporary activities, and they're all an escape from the suffering that they're having in their daily lives. And for people, they relate to that heaps. They think, oh, this is what I'm doing as well, because they're also suffering, and because they also can relate to the fact that, oh, I would need to escape reality, so I go to the beach, have a walk, or whatever it is that they do. Whereas what Srila Prabhupada was doing, which is as much as helping outwardly, also helping inwardly, helping his own sadhana, and also doing devotional service while helping the community. That is not something that people will necessarily, relate with, as well as even understand. And so, I thought that was quite a link, to what we were talking about in that discussion, and also just a practical example of that. That when people, we learn in psychology that when you see that someone else is suffering, you do feel quite happy about it, because you're also going through the same thing. If you see, you celebrate people's you do not celebrate people's success, as opposed to you want people to experience bad things, because that's what you're going through. It's just the human psychology. It's just the way that we are. And so when you see someone who's doing something who's doing something for the community and who is happy in their service, it's very hard for people to understand, and it's very hard for people to relate to. And also, as you said, that it can be ego, there can be jealousy, and there can be enviousness as well. So I do know before that discussion that we do not know that we are suffering, etc., etc. But I also realized that a lot of people are quite opposed to that idea of suffering, simply because it could be conditioning. It could be because they're trying so hard to make the best out of a bad situation that they're in denial about suffering. But that's why what we're our devotional service and our Krishna consciousness is very important, because we're always looking outside the box, outside the material sphere, and we all come to the understanding very, very quickly and very, very fundamentally that we should not be looking for happiness in temporary things. And so all the activities that we are doing are in a spiritual platform, which is permanent. So that is what I had understood and am understanding. And it's, in that sense, it's good to hear perspectives from different people and from different religions as well, because a lot of them don't come from that same school of thinking and that same form of understanding. Whether it be Christianity, Islam, or the Theosophical movement, which only existed about 30 years ago. So I'm not sure what credibility that has. But yeah, so again, quite interesting. And the more now than ever, people will slowly come to the realization that we are suffering, and the nature of Kali Yuga is suffering itself. So yeah, that is my realization. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Krishna has so rightly said, because there's also, if you see, there's many people, and there are many people who don't like to talk about death. It's like, no, that's very negative thing. We don't want to talk about it, and it's a denial, and it's also by avoiding to talk about something, you're not going to actually let it go away. But it's just that if you don't talk about it, then they think that, then, like, I'm not saying they in the sense any type of people or anything, but essentially people who are not into spiritual activities. Then if you're not thinking about if you're not talking about something, does not mean then that you're not thinking about it. You cannot avoid that. No matter what you do, you can stop yourself from talking about something to try to avoid a problem, but no matter what you do, you cannot avoid the thinking that comes to your mind, unless and until you channelize it towards spiritual activities, Krishna conscious activities. Then the thoughts can go away. So I feel that, yeah, that point that you raised, that's so important, is the denial point. However, more so, I also feel that in the current scenario, in the past 5 or 6 years, 3 years since COVID has happened, people are at least acknowledging that there is suffering, because everybody has suffered in some way or the other. Maybe not, personal loss, or abstaining from doing things, and everyone's life has changed so much. Yet I'm surprised to hear that there was a person who questioned you about suffering. I'm really surprised that somebody can think that that there are happy people, and as you rightly said, that they are, and all the Krishna conscious devotees are always happy. So no matter what happens, I mean, we all are sitting here, the storm is going to come or whatever is going to happen, but we are not, I don't think that really affects our thinking so much. We might do our preparation and everything. It's not like it's not like we just wait there for Krishna to come and appear and do things for us. We are not that great. So yeah, I'll give my realization later, but I just thought I wanted to kind of share this thought before it goes away from my mind. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, also just leading on to from your point that even now when you say that people are now acknowledging that there are sufferings, all that, it's all circumstantial, right? It's all contextual. If COVID-19 didn't happen, then they wouldn't have realized. In the same way, if World War I and World War II had happened, a lot of people there would have been thinking, oh, we are all suffering. But fast forward 20, 30 years, it's not the same. So it's very much circumstantial. And I'm guessing in another 5 or 10 years, when all of this is behind us, it'll just go back to what it was. Everything will be back to normal. Because in the sense that people will not, be thinking that they're suffering every single day, because they're not in it, and they're not in that situation. because because it's material. It's in the material world. But that's why we're always looking for the bigger picture and spirituality. Thank you.
More suffering in the future. So they're not going to be normal. This suffering will be very trivial for them. So I sent a post on this suffering. Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.25. He said, this material world is certified. It's certified by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita as dangerous place full of calamities. Less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to these calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of the sane person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by worldly calamities, which are sure to happen in all circumstances. Suffering, all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritual realization, because that is the mission of human life. See, it's a mission of human life. The spirit soul is transcendental to all material calamities. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger, and there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in touch with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Contact with the Lord by any one of the 9 devotional services is always a forward step on the path of going back to Godhead. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Yeah, this was 4th of February. We had transferred this. Hare Krishna. Yes, please. Who would like to share your realizations? Please. We're just getting started now. Getting warmed up. Hare Krishna. This was the quote of Guru Maharaj, which was quoted earlier. So please be careful that to be transcendental to material life does not mean that you should be careless in material life. No, 24 hours a day, you should be wakeful to your responsibilities. Jai Shri Gurudev ki Jai. Come on, do you want me to ask you individually? Please come forward. Hare Krishna.
Am I audible, Prabhu? Yeah. Okay. So, Hare Krishna. First
It's
of
a
all,
little low. You're a little low.
yeah, Prabhu. I was actually feeling the same, that I was having some voice glitch.
No, it's okay. It's all good.
Is
We
it
can hear you very well.
is it okay? Is it okay, Prabhu? Now?
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you very much, Amish Prabhu, for giving me this opportunity to share my realization. And thank you to all devotees for their wonderful realization. So while I was meditating on with regards to what all happened during the previous classes and the teaching that I would have picked up from them, I decided to dedicate this entire my realization on one theme, obviously. So now, so I really don't want to jump to what is the theme, but I want to share the references from where I shall be quoting my content. So in this previous Saturday classes, we were reading this book called The Path of Perfection in the Saturday classes. So wherein Prabhupada is time and again taking references from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and Padma Purana and whatnot. So, but one line that while going through the entire chapter, which was the third chapter, seeing God, learning to see God. So while picking up the entire, like the gist of what I could pick up for my own self, was this one line that book knowledge without realization of the supreme truth is useless. So I read it again. I pondered it over it again, so that what actually Prabhupada wanted to deliver there. And I went again to that particular line and again read that book knowledge without realization of the supreme truth is useless. So while I was pondering to that particular thing, I thought that maybe Prabhupada want to just deliver that, okay, before understanding that Krishna is the absolute truth and knowing that he is the supreme controller, one cannot understand the knowledge. Okay, this was the one thing that I got there. But then again, while pondering to that particular line, I thought that what is one thing that I'm still lacking on. Still, Prabhupada really want to deliver something more apart from what I got from that line. So thankfully, I went ahead and read the few lines which was presented there, Prabhupada explaining it further on. So then he explains that only when one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord are the transcendental name, form, quality, and pastimes of the Lord is revealed to him. So again, there was a key word that two words that highlighted there to me was the transcendental service. And then fortunately, back there going for taking for some references, I got a few of his lectures and his conversation while sharing about the service and devotional service, because the one thing that came to my mind seeing this word transcendental service was time and again Prabhupada in his lectures talked numerous times about the process why he was highlighting this point of implementation of bhakti yoga, implementation of process. So while searching about this devotional service and process, I got to know that in one of his lecture, one of his interviews, he was saying that this bhakti yoga process is so simple that we can relate it with homeopathic medicine. So the interviewer asked, "Oh, homeopathic medicine." So Prabhupada said, "Yes, it's simply water." So they do not like to take it. Actually, they do not want God. They want Maya. Otherwise, if anyone wants God, Krishna, So Krishna, there is no difficulty. So again, it comes to me because I was pondering on this thought that even though this ABC process is so simple, even though it's just like how Prabhupada explained to that interview, like it's like a homeopathic medicine, but then also I tend to just go away from this simple process, go away from, or time and again I have to push myself. In the previous classes when we had the discussions with Avinash Prabhu, he just asked us that how far that you could justify your devotional process, and I was like, no, I cannot even justify the simple process. Not to talk about the 16 rounds, but the rounds that I have set for myself. Even sometimes I tend to sway away from that. Swayed away from this simple process of regularly reading, making note, and maybe coming to the classes regularly. So this is the one point I always, while the entire week was going on, I was just meditating on the fact that howsoever my book knowledge could help me, but if I am not implementing those knowledge in my personal life, so what is the use of saying that I'm reading about Bhagavad Gita, I'm reading about Prabhupada and his life? So this is the gist of the theme that this line I've taken from Avinash Prabhu. So I don't want to plagiarize that. So this line is actually the theme of my entire realization, that our problem is not knowledge, our problem is implementation of the knowledge. So this is what I really feel, that even though I have set little targets for myself that I could do this particular thing, or maybe implement those book knowledge into my life, because you always say, Amrish Prabhu, that Hare Krishna weekend is a lifestyle. So if I'm not implementing those things in my lifestyle, then it's simply a book knowledge. It's simply a piece of literature that I'm going through. It's simply just for the sake that I am in the class and I am doing this kind of process. It simply would be like that. So with this, this is my short and sweet realization that I really want to share, that I, as a beginner, as I've started doing that, I've just feeling the waves of bhakti, but then I really want to take it to the point that I am implementing those things in my life. Because if I going to implement things correctly in my life, so as the other people around me would get motivated, and it's not about to motivate them, it's about to make my spiritual process in a purified manner, in a purified terms, more systematic, more disciplined. And of course, in this previous week, I have also felt this amongst my near and dear ones, that belonging to the family wherein I have grown hearing and learning about the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, and talking about people around me talking about Krishna. But then if I have not been able to see that in their life or even in my life, so it would not be making sense for them as well as for myself. So this is what I feel that is lacking in most of my life. So yeah, so this is the point wherein I want to work, and yeah, I want to make it to the best, because ultimately from the yesterday's discussion, Krishna is not cheap. What I have picked up, that Krishna is not cheap. You cannot compromise on bhakti. You cannot just say that I am doing this 2 classes every week and talking few things about this Krishna consciousness, and my bhakti is done. No, you cannot compromise that, and I really don't want to compromise on that. So yeah. So this is my realization.
Hare Krishna. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you very much, my dear. Yes. Unless we implement what we learn, it becomes a bookish knowledge. Doesn't have much value. You are absolutely correct. And this is true at every level of devotional service. Beginners also and advanced also. Otherwise, we are very happy to give big realizations. How much are you practically implementing it? That is a difference. And that is what we focus upon in a Hare Krishna weekend. It's very, very difficult to accept one's faults, and one's shortcomings. And it is very easy to see others' shortcomings and faults. As Maharishi Goswami Maharaj would say this, that our body is made in such a way that we can see other people's faults. We cannot see our faults. You see? So that's correct. And unless we know the bookish knowledge, implement it, it is very difficult to move this to the second step. We won't get a taste. Is it not so? We won't get the taste. So the taste is the point. To experience the taste is the point. So we always notice this, that when people join us, initially, they say, this is okay, I know the philosophy, there are students, people, this philosophy, this is good enough, that's all right. But they get the jerk and wake up call when they see that implemented. Philosophy to be implemented. Yes, very nice. All the best to you. Hare Krishna. Yes, who would like to be next? Any more? Any more? Any more? Any more? Give me more. Give me more. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Amrish Prabhu, for the opportunity. And thank you, dear devotees, for sharing your realization, practical ones. And sorry for being late to join the classes. So, Amrish Prabhu puts a lot of posts in so many groups, and I struggle to read all of them. But somehow I find time to read so that I understand what Amrish was trying to say, which I don't understand. So one post which Amrish posted in beginners group on 7th of February, where Maharaj is saying, unsophisticated devotional service attracts Krishna. Then you will be inspired. Sophisticated devotional service is motivated devotional service. Then you will forget Krishna. In the programs, you will perform material activities. So I was thinking about it. And then, because we are learning how to talk to other people, how to spread this knowledge, verify our existence. And that's where we have to be careful that we are actually not promoting ourselves, we are promoting the knowledge or the parampara. And not sometimes, all the time, I feel that I'm very unsophisticated, particularly articulating words and expressing. So, but yes, somehow that quote I could relate to, because that's how I keep going. Because important is that we keep going. Because keep doing is much harder. So when I was meditating on this, and I was thinking about this quote more, and why we do what we do. And we are also having a class on in which we are discussing chapter 13, verse 8 to 12. And very interestingly, which relate to this, Prabhupada writes in the purport about non-violence. Non-violence is generally taken to mean not killing or destroying the body, but actually non-violence means not to put others into distress. People in general are trapped by ignorance in the material conception of life, and they perpetually suffer material pains. So these two sentences are not related. Because Prabhupada is writing another point, which probably will make sense to all of you. So unless one elevates people to spiritual knowledge, one is practicing violence. And then I thought, okay, so if we are not doing this, we are actually, whatever we are doing, we don't eat this, we don't eat that, we don't drink that, we don't do this. So it has to be so that we are sattvic and we are actually non-violent. It means we are actually violent. And we are missing the point. And there is a purpose why Prabhupada is writing like this. And we had a long discussion on this about being non-violent. I said, if we are giving somebody some support, some food, some other kind of thing, how that problem is fixed, how long that problem can be fixed. So that's why Prabhupada says that by giving that, actually you are creating a problem. And then Prabhupada further writes, one should try, yes, just reinforcing the same point, one should try his best to distribute real knowledge to the people so that they may become enlightened and leave this material entanglement, and that is non-violence. One should try his best, whatever capacity we have got. We may know less, we may know more, we may know a lot of scriptures, we may not know a lot of scriptures, but we definitely know something. That's why we are here. And so one should try his best to distribute real knowledge to the people so that they may become enlightened and leave this material entanglement. That is non-violence. So that is one thing which reinforces that, okay, we are on the right track. At least it's very important that we are non-violent. We are not disturbing anyone, because disturbing also is also violent activity. Now the question comes: one should try his best to distribute the real knowledge. What is that real knowledge is? And this real knowledge, that's what we are trying to practice. That's what we are trying to understand, what that real knowledge is. And that real knowledge can be different for different people depending upon their realization. That's again, I will quote one verse. Bhagavatam talks about this, that what is real knowledge. But before we go on that topic of knowledge, this which I keep talking about knowledge. One more thing Prabhupada is writing the same verse, which is related to the post which I referred, where I started my sharing realization. It is about humility, which I just wanted, which I went through, I said I must share. Humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. This is the most difficult part, but it is the first thing Krishna speaks in this verse. Humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. And I remember we have millions of discussions with Amrisha on this topic about how we talk so that people don't get offended. And they feel that we have actually have told them the truth without compromising the quality of truth, the purity of truth, which is actually next to impossible. Because if you are telling someone truth, he may like it, he may not like it. Most of the time, he will not like it. That's how we are conditioned. But what the point is that who is humble? Somebody who is trying something which will please someone, or we are trying to do something which will please his or her soul. So whatever we are talking about to please his or her soul is humility, and whatever we're trying to please our body is not humility. And again, Prabhupada, in the process of knowledge, this is the first instruction. Krishna is giving this humility and non-violence, which I thought I should share with this. It's a big verse. And now the knowledge. What is knowledge? Because we refer Bhagavatam, we refer Bhagavad Gita, we give that class, we give that class, we listen to Prabhupada, we share Prabhupada, we do this, we do that. But what is that knowledge is? What we are trying to actually, how we get that knowledge. So in this verse, Lord Kapil Muni talking about this, which he's telling his mother, and that he's saying that knowledge is the ultimate perfection of self-realization. It is not only realization or self-realization, it is also perfection of self-realization. And then he further says, I said, now I shall explain that knowledge unto you, by which the knots of the attachment to the material world are cut. That's why we get the knowledge, so that we can actually get rid of this material body, both subtle and gross. So that perfection of self-realization, how that perfection will come. Because we all have our own constitutional position, we all look at things in a different way. We all realize things in a different way. We all implement things in a different way. And that's why you have got a different level of knowledge. But the perfection of that self-realization, that's where probably we have to read the following verses which Lord Kapil is talking about, which I'm not going to do it. But knowledge is all about how much we understood, and obviously from a bona fide source, certified, not speculative knowledge. I'm not talking about speculative knowledge. And knowledge and self-realization, unless we are practicing, that is the point which we discussed yesterday with Suchi Mataji, referred that also. And we also emphasize that unless we are able to practice or implement that knowledge, we cannot realize that knowledge. We have realized that knowledge, but we cannot practice this knowledge, means we have not realized that knowledge. Or if we have realized that knowledge, but we are not practicing, that is our Gyan Yoga. We are only thinking about it. We are not practicing it. And that's why I promote very vehemently that Hare Krishna is a lifestyle, which I have learned from here. And this lifestyle will come only after self-realization. And as you realize more, we get more knowledge and we implement more. And this vicious circle that goes on, and we get a higher taste. So that's the relation I wanted to share from Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for a nice realization, Prabhuji. Yes, it is. Our perfection really is to deliver knowledge as it is, and then their perfection whom we have delivered, their perfection is to deliver the knowledge which they have received as it is. And they have to verify with the source whether it is correct or not. And for that, they should read Prabhupada's books. Simple, very transparent. All go back to Godhead. Very simple. Nobody's left behind. Nobody's left behind. Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Hare Krishna. Yes. Who would like to go next? On your.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I'd like to go next. Sorry, I have a sore throat and some runny nose, so forgive me for anything that happens between. Thank you, Amrish Prabhu. Thank you, Avinash Prabhu, for giving such a platform and for helping me develop these ideas and think about these ideas in a protected, sheltered way, and then be able to speak them up. So yeah, I'll just proceed with my realization. So basically my realization is of two parts. One part is, I would say, some experiences and realization that I've had over past 2-3 weeks. And second part is my realization that I wrote to say in today's class. Both are related. So I hope I can deliver them as I planned. Krishna willing. Hare Krishna. So I'll first go with what I what I planned. Sorry, what I wrote. So the title for that is "We Cannot Survive for Long on Second-Hand Faith." Now I'll also tell what I mean by second-hand faith and first-hand faith. So here it goes. Second-hand faith refers to the faith we have developed in something because of our faith in those who tell us to do that thing. Such is the normal beginning of our faith journey in any field. Even fields such as science that some people mistakenly imagine requires no faith. Science students study certain books and do corresponding experiments because of their second-hand faith in their science teachers. Similarly, children born to spiritually minded parents frequently do spiritual activities because they are told to do so by their parents, in whom they have faith. But when they grow up in today's multicultural world, they will soon encounter others whose faith differs from theirs. Such encounters can confuse and delude them. For their faith to survive such challenges, they need to elevate their faith from second hand to first hand. That is, they need to make their faith their own, intellectually and experientially. The Bhagavad Gita calls for such internalization of faith, recognizing that a journey towards enlightenment begins with faith. It urges us to approach spiritual seers and learn from them. The verse here is chapter 4, verse number 34. I'll just sing it and then we all can know. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So this is how the Bhagavad Gita is asking us to approach spiritual seers and learn from them. This verse that I just sang also stresses that such learning is not the swallowing of received truths just as it is, but their assimilation through intelligent inquiry. Arjuna, the Gita's original student, models the harmonious integration of submissiveness and inquisitiveness when he surrenders to Krishna in the famous Karpanya Dosha verse, which is chapter 2, verse number 7. And also asked him probing questions throughout the Gita. And Krishna too conveys the need for internalization of his message. How? By his concluding call. He doesn't invoke his divinity for insisting on the acceptance of his words, but instead urges that they be deliberated, thereby making them intellectually first-hand. And he has already stated that the process of bhakti yoga gives experiential realization of higher spiritual realities. The faith that is thus made first-hand, both intellectually and experientially, can pass the sternest of tests. Hare Krishna. So this is what I wrote. Now I'll also elaborate on why I wrote such a thing. So in the previous, since the time that I have moved into Hyderabad and have been living alone, and obviously living alone comes with its own challenges at first, but then benefits when you start living alone and start getting into the lifestyle. What I especially found was the benefits that it had to offer to my spiritual life. So living alone, previously the food and previously my spiritual activities were limited to chanting or maybe attending classes or maybe reading. But now since I'm living alone, my spiritual activities have somehow increased. Now I cook for myself. There's no maid or nothing comes to my home, or no mom or dad who cook for me. I cook for me. If I don't cook for me, there's no food for me. So I have to cook for me. So it started off like that, as a matter of duty, as a matter of requirement. But then while I was doing that, in between, I thought, okay, so previously what used to happen was, I used to come from office all tired, and so obviously, being a lazy person, I did not want to cook, and I was all out of energy at that point to cook for me, and then wash all the utensils, and then do all the other cleaning and stuff, and then go to sleep, because again in the morning I have to wake up and go for office and do my sadhana, and everything has to be there. So what I usually used to do was, let's say, cook khichdi or some easy prashadam. So I just put some dal, some chawal and salt and whatnot, just easy cook and just be done with it. But recently I had this realization, and obviously I used to offer it to the deities and have and accept prashadam afterwards. But then recently I had this realization that if I am investing time in cooking, so this was when I was the center, that, oh my God, I need to work, I need to do everything, and I don't need tasty food, and I can just bear with simple food. But then I thought that, oh, Krishna is a person. He must be loving tasty and delicious food. Yes, it's a little bit out of my reach to cook him some tasty food. But what if I try? Won't that make Krishna happy? Isn't our goal to make Krishna happy and somehow get his attention? Okay, is this devotee doing something different for me? Isn't that the purpose of our lives? So in the last week, I again cooked khichdi, but with the difference that I cooked tadka khichdi. So tadka khichdi is basically where you add some more vegetables and cook tomatoes also, and make a paste and mix khichdi and add some paneer and whatnot. So my point being, and I offered that to Krishna. My point being, while I was making that, I did not think that I was making it for my own happiness, because I would have been satisfied with a normal khichdi, but I made it for Krishna. And instances like this have been happening in my life since I moved here. Like thinking of this house, because as a bachelor, you know that the last thing that a bachelor who's living alone has his mind is cleaning the entire house and the entire place where you're residing at, and just going through the motions of life. But then this realization, no, okay, Krishna is in my home. There's a temple in my home. I need to keep it clean, because the house is the temple. So I need to keep it very clean and tidy. And obviously in the Maharaj prayers, we have the thing where if your room is clean, then your mind is clean. And Avinash Prabhu also stressed on this point, that if my room is not clean, then my mind is not clean, and my mind is already not clean. So it has an added layer of impurities, which is taking me away from Krishna. So I need to get it clean. So things like this have been making my life somehow easier, or not easier, but somehow more spiritually oriented. But this is all there, and obviously all of this gives you some bliss and some happiness when you do something for Krishna under guidance and everything. But the thing is that Hare Krishna. Yeah. Okay, Hare Krishna. Yeah, sorry, I got a message. Yeah. Yeah. So basically I was saying that, yeah, all these realizations have been building up, and yes, it gives me some personal experience, because before what used to happen was, I used to sit in class, be it intermediate or beginner or whatever, Bhagavatam class, and I used to listen to all these concepts about how Mataji Purna Pragya, Devi Mataji used to cook so delicious foods for Krishna, and how every devotee used to love it, and how their spiritual life increased, there's faith in Krishna increased, and how Amrish Prabhu used to say that the more service we do for Krishna, the more our faith in Krishna becomes stronger, because we need to give Krishna a chance. All of those were concepts until I actually applied that, and didn't do it by and it's a sorry state of affairs that I didn't do it by my own choice, but I was forced to. So I had to do it. But then that developed my faith stronger in Krishna, which I was calling in my realization as the first-hand faith. Here's the but. Obviously, all of this is very good. And connection to the first part, also I asked the question to Avinash Prabhu in the Saturday class yesterday. I was having this doubt that when I do this service and when I'm thinking of Krishna, And when I'm thinking of Prabhupada and his books and whatnot, there's this happy state where, Amrish Prabhu used to say that, after work you retire, like retire every day, retire with your books, retire with your sadhana. And I was practicing that, and I was feeling that state of happiness and the state of peace, at least not happiness, but yeah, there was something that I was feeling that was different from the mundane activities. But then my question to Avinash Prabhu was that this state is not lasting longer. As soon as I think about, oh my God, tomorrow again I have to go for job, tomorrow again I have to engage with the material world, again with the people who have, who don't want to talk about Krishna or not interested in Krishna, I have to do that again. And that state slips away. So I asked my question to Avinash Prabhu that how I can sustain this state. I want this state to be for longer. And obviously I cannot always, not obviously, but how can I always, like at least sustain the state of happiness so I can take it when I'm materially engaging as well in my activities. And then Avinash Prabhu had a very beautiful discussion with us in the yesterday class, and we all had a very beautiful discussion. But that being said, yes, faith is there. Yes, it's first-hand faith. But because I'm living in this world and I'm interacting with people, there will always be obstacles to my faith that I've realized. Just for an example, so we have this Saturday youth session where all the youths come together, and we discuss about. Sorry if my realization is going too long. Is it okay if I continue? Is it fine? Okay, thank you. So we have this Saturday youth session wherein youth people come, and in that session we don't, like, obviously we talk about Krishna, but since I'm not so experienced in Krishna consciousness and I don't have so much first-hand faith, I leave that to our mentors, Avinash Prabhu when he takes his Friday morning or Wednesday class, and Amrish Prabhu when he takes the Sunday class. But what we discuss about is like how to sing shlokas and etc., like some basic stuff that can prepare them for when they confront Avinash Prabhu or Amrish Prabhu. But these kids do have questions. And questions about, like, because our Saturday youth classes or realization programs, they started off on a scientific note, but what I had in mind was they will end like the scientific note it started, but then it will end like I would want to convey them that science is not all, that you need to have faith and you need to have faith in scriptures, and then you can build up your bhakti. And that is what Krishna also says in 4.40 Sansaya Atma Vinashyati, that you need to have faith. Science is okay, but you then need to have faith. But somehow or the other, when new people start coming in, like not the people that were originally there, some new people came and they obviously have questions. Okay, what are you doing? What is this? What is Bhagavatam? What is scripture? What is God? Who is God? Why God? And obviously all these questions are to be covered in the beginner program, but these people don't come to the beginner program for some reason. I have tried asking them to come to the Sunday program, but they have some NCC or they have something else. So at the end, it falls on me to somehow answer them, and the other devotees also like, oh, Parth Prabhu, you talked about this now when initially, but I'm like, I don't want to talk about it now. I have already talked about it. Now let's get into some serious matter. It's not just about always whether God exists or whether he does not. Just have faith and have faith. Prabhupada says, I read this in, I think Amrish Prabhu posted it. Prabhupada said that somebody asked that, Prabhupada, how can I have faith that God is there? Prabhupada said, have faith in that God is there, and then you will realize that God is there. So it starts with having faith. And I want these people to rise up from that platform of just this questioning, oh, God is there, to actually experiencing bhakti, because it's an experiential process. But that does not happen. And in turn, what that sometimes does is, I don't know why, but it sometimes have this, it affects my faith. Because when I encounter those questions, it's not that I don't know answers to them, but it's that I think, okay, do I clearly know the answers to them? Do I know all the arguments, or am I being ignorant about them? Do I know the Purva Paksha or the opponents very nicely when they say, okay, God is not there because of so reason? Bhagavatam, let's take a very simple example. So before I came into Krishna consciousness about these scriptures, this question of dating of scriptures, of dating of Bhagavatam was a very prevalent question before I was there. Like, when do these scriptures come about? How do you know exactly that they are not man-made or God-made or whatever? I had these questions. Fortunately, and through Hare Krishna week, and I got the answers. But then I used to have that, what is the dating? Some people say that it is in the 9th century, but Srila Prabhupada says that 5,000 years old. So how do we reconcile all of those matters? And then some people say that it does not have a date. It's from time eternal. So how do you reconcile all of those things? But then what I have recently got a realization of is that there are some points, not some, but basically these questions, whether it be the dating of Bhagavatam or the existence of a soul or God or whatever, yes, these questions are important. I'm not saying just have blind, or I convince myself that it's not having blind faith. It's not that. There is some logic, there is some reason. But if I just have my faith based on one pillar of science, it is sure to come down. Unless I have my faith divided over certain pillars, apart from just maybe some scientific tools, then I can continue my spiritual journey. So what I mean to say by this is science is okay. Science and this practical knowledge and dating of Bhagavatam, whatever dating of scriptures is one set of knowledge, one set of having faith. But the other set is the qualities of Vaishnavas, is the qualities of devotee that you meet every day. How can they be so nice? How can they be so loving? How can they be so dedicated? How can Srila Prabhupada be so loving? What made him do so? Why is he free of anger? Why is he free of envy, jealousy, lust? Do I not want to become like that? Does anybody in my surrounding not want to become like that? Okay, Bhagavatam is 9th century or God is not there. But whatever it is, at the end of the day, do you not want to become a first-class man like Srila Prabhupada was? Obviously, who does not want to? Then why not have faith on the man who is like that and is telling how to become like that? So that is one pillar, right? Then one pillar is science. One pillar is through the association of Vaishnavas, through the association of devotees. When you see, okay, I have this faith, this other person also must have this doubt, but they're still progressing. They have faith in their spiritual master. That the faith in their spiritual master is also important. And then finally, the faith in one's own experience, in one's own realizations, for which we have these Sunday programs for. When devotees speak up, you know, okay, so this devotee had this realization. So if I follow the process, maybe I can also get that. If I just have faith on science, yeah, it's okay. It's not wrong, but then it will soon shatter because science is the ever-changing world. People, just Amrish Prabhu used to say, people used to criticize milk or what they used to say, brain is the cooling agent. Science changes and sugar is very good and whatnot. And then they found out sugar is very dangerous. So all of this keeps changing. If I have faith on something that is material, and why does it change? Because, well, material world, dukhalayam ashashvatam, it's ashashvat, it's ever changing. If your faith that is, and if your object of faith is eternal and unchanging, and your method of having faith is temporary and always changing, well, that does not make sense, right? So you need to have faith on something that's eternal and not changing. This I realized. So one question similarly, and just to quote Srila Prabhupada on this, that I'm not making all of this up. Srila Prabhupada also agrees that there's this expert. I don't know exactly where I read it, but it's to do, maybe Amrish Prabhu and Avinash Prabhu would, on other devotees would know. So there's this a morning walk conversation or some conversation where some devotees are asked about. So there is the appearance place of Narsingha Bhagwan in South India, right? And Srila Prabhupada had already mentioned that, yes, this is where Narsingha Bhagwan appeared. There is an iron pillar there and symbolically placed, and this is where Narsingha Bhagwan. It's in South Avir. It starts with an A. I'm forgetting that, sorry. So Prabhupada had mentioned, but in a morning walk conversation, some devotees again asked that, Prabhupada, is this the actual real geographical place where Narsingha Bhagwan appeared? And Prabhupada said, why does it matter? And then he was like, no. Actually, we are getting questions from outside people that your Acharya has said that this is where Narsingha Bhagwan appears. It's a very big thing. And Prabhupada said, no. Ito Narsingha, Parato Narsingha, Yato Yami Tato Narsingha. That is what we believe in. That Narsingha Bhagwan is everywhere. Why does it matter? Why are you constraining him to just one place? He's everywhere. And then Prabhupada just walks ahead. And then the devotee again, no, Prabhupada, we know Narsingha Bhagwan is everywhere. But still, Prabhupada says, what still? Do you have faith in Narsingha Bhagwan? Do you have faith that he's everywhere, all prevailing? Then why this question? Does your faith change based on where he appeared? Does your faith change? Or does your faith is on the fact that Narsingh Bhagwan will always protect you? And then everybody just shut up, because then they realize, okay. And it's not that Prabhupada was rejecting facts. He already had mentioned before. But right now what he was emphasizing on, that your faith does not need to depend on whether geographically Narsingh Bhagwan appeared in that village in South India. He said your faith should be dependent upon Ito Narsingha, Parato Narsingha, Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsingha. That is what your faith should depend upon. And that is what I realized, that my faith should not depend upon whether Bhagavatam was written in the 9th century, or whether, before, when I used to come in weekend classes, like is Aryan invasion theory real? And we have these discussions. And it's not that we don't have proofs, conclusive proofs to disprove them. We have. But why does our mind, why make my mind always go in that direction of countering everything and defeating everyone in the world? Okay, Aryans came, maybe the Vedas are their product. Okay, that's all. But what is the content of the Vedas? Is the content of the Vedas that I get free from this material condition of life and attain love of Godhead? I don't care who made the Vedas. If that is the goal, and if that is what Srila Prabhupada and all the other Vaishnavas and Jeev Goswami and Rup Goswami and Sanatan Goswami and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu followed, and if the product of those Vedas, and if the fruit of the tree of that Vedic knowledge is Srimad Bhagavatam, then okay, I accept wherever the Vedas came from. Just give me that. I want to change myself. That should be my focus. So that is my realization, Prabhu. Thank you for giving such a platform. Hare Krishna. Sorry if I went too long. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Also, it's very, very nice. Very good. Very good. Top quality realization. This is very nice. Where you require Lord Nrsimha to appear. He appears in your heart. It should appear in your heart. The minded pillar. It says, Avabalam. You can go there. You have to climb. You have to climb that. It's a big mountain. And devotees climb there. And there's a pillar up there also now, still. They worship the pillar. And in that whole area, there are also other deities of Lord Nrsimhadev. There's one cave where you can go inside. It's half filled with water. And you have to go walking inside the water, half filled. And go. There's a temple inside, half filled with water. Always. And you worship there. There's a pujari there who worships Lord Nrsimhadev. There's also a place in Mayapur where Lord Nrsimhadev rested there. And there is a self-manifested deity of Lord Nrsimhadev there. So where's Ahobalam? Where is this? Mayapur, West Bengal. So yeah, it's not too far still. It's Andhra Pradesh, and So this will always help you. This point will always help you, because material mind, material education, as you correctly pointed out yourself, and you realize yourself, that it will keep pondering you, asking so many things. I would like to add, share one point, one discussion with Prabhupada, if I may, on this. So there were two very, very senior devotees, disciples of Prabhupada, who lost a little faith, but not lost faith too, in a way. I don't think they lost faith, Maybe one of them, but not the other one. He said that, but Prabhupada, we asked, when we preach to people, they say, that how is it that even in Kurukshetra war, there are millions of fighters, who are fighting. So where will they go to toilet, Where are the toilets of so many people, Where would they bathe and all that, So Prabhupada said, well, this is mentioned in our Vedas and Upanishads, These are, and some certain times we can't answer all the questions. So this is a fact, They don't know, but they're asking this question. I said, Prabhupada, I can't answer the question. I'm very sorry. Prabhupada said that. Prabhupada realized they were challenging, So I said, I'm very sorry. It is my fault. I could not convince you. He said this to those disciples, which we now realize, which we now know, where is that village which cooked for the Kurukshetra war. You can go to the village. Well, now it exists. You see? So, with our own logic, your conclusion is absolutely right. With our limited knowledge, we cannot conclude. There it is. Big wind gust. Wow. If this is going to happen, it's going to be very tricky, man. Wow, look at that. I don't know if you can hear it. Okay, so with our own logics, we will never be able to understand. You see, now in Newland Community Center, we used to have our own center there, the Hare Krishna weekend. We used to do programs there for many years. Now, where we were there, that center is quite different to the original center which was existing before. I've seen that, which was very different. It got burnt out. And then they made a new center. Okay. Now, to approach road was also very different to approach that center. Then they had to change the roads, move around this. For many years they did it. And then after many years they changed that road also. So now if you see, the center is very different to what it was. So if I sit and tell you that, no, this is how it was, there is how it was there, you say, how is it possible? Right now it is facing this way. How you can say it was here in this place? It was so close to the road, not so behind the road. In the modern days also it is the case, and I've seen it. I found it hard. It took me time to explain to devotees to understand this concept of Unity Community Center, how it was, And it is in New Zealand, in one suburb, material place. In about 15 years' time, this is what happened. Now, what we're talking about, millions of years. When we go to Vrindavan, I'll take you to the Bhajan Kutir of Sanatan Goswami. Absolutely brilliant. You would not feel like living from there. And I sit down there and chant quietly. All of them, whoever would go. Now, at that time, the Yamuna was going through where the Bhajan Kutir was, banks, straight. Now, Yamuna Mother is so far away. You can imagine this. There are roads there, houses there, farms there. So, and this also in 5,000 years. So we're talking about millions of years that Lord Nrsimha appeared. You see? So, but very nice, very good. Your conclusion is absolutely correct. And you will never be dissatisfied with this conclusion. And I very much like when you said that, you see, Prabhupada, I would like to be like him, follow him. What did he follow? I'm interested in that. Rather than these people who are, why not that? They look like monkeys and chimpanzees. They die like them. Better to be like Transcendental Prabhupada, So that is very, very, very correct. You're very, very fortunate at this young age, you have concluded that. So it's very good to have tutors who have spent a lot of time with you on this, guided you, understanding your needs. And please, this is where you should be talking to your fellow age group of people, And initially they may not understand it, so wait for the right time. And then give this short knowledge. It's a very realized knowledge. Very nice. Hare Krishna. Okay. I would like to go next. Please feel free. As I said, moment we go after 1.5 hours, it becomes very intense. Till the time it's a bit of a struggle. People speak a bit of scrappy. Then it goes. Hare Krishna. Please feel free.
Prabhuji, your voice was coming and going. It wasn't very clear.
Okay, I said, yes, we're waiting for realizations now. Please, now's the time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for your wonderful realizations as usual. There was one particular point that I was thinking about and meditating upon, and that was, when we were talking earlier about sufferings, and there was one thing that I was thinking, that there's all these different types of suffering, and there's this suffering inflicted by other living entities. And I personally feel that it's probably the most prominent suffering in today's Kali Yuga, in the material world. And I was talking to one of my friends, and she was mentioning that, and also the point of happiness, So when Krishnadas raised, so this I remember this conversation, where she was saying that, there are people who have a lot of money, like you cannot even imagine how much money they have, and they go to great lengths to organize an event probably at their home or something like that, and the center point of anything that one wants to organize would be obviously to be more happy, to meet your friends or family and be together and share your happiness, so to speak. But we were just having this conversation that actually instead of it becoming like that, it becomes an event where there is a lot of brawl, or sometimes fights, and somebody offends somebody, or somebody says something and somebody feels offended, and the whole thing, the event has been organized for days and days together. There are so many different people involved. It's like a complete event management people involved and everything like that. But there is still no happiness after that event because of this. And the underlying factor, the observation was that it was this suffering inflicted by other living entities upon, a particular living entity. And then I thought, okay, just saying our scriptures, when we read Ramayana or when even Mahabharata, we see the same thing. There is sufferings inflicted by living entities, which is so cruel sometimes. And why I'm mentioning this point is that there's two things. One thing is because as Hare Krishna weekend is very much focused on preaching activities. So preaching means that we will always come into contact with other living entities. It's about people, and it's a hard job. Like anything to do with people is always hard. So much so. Then how Avinash Krishna Prabhu also mentioned, that sometimes how we should not offend anyone when we are doing in our preaching and all those things. And I was thinking, because I have had this conversation with my Prabhuji many times, and what I gather from that is that personally, I feel my Prabhuji always mentioned this, that if your heart is clean, if the purpose in your heart is clean, you cannot keep satisfying everyone. I mean, it's nearly an impossible task. You have a group of 100 people in front of you, and you say something. Every single person is going to take that message in a different way. Because anything that anybody says to us, Krishnadas can correct me if I'm wrong, anything that anybody says to us, we always try to relate it to us. Sometimes we say in the wrong way. If people take it, we say, don't take it personally. But it's in a good way. We always try to relate. If we're having a conversation, we always try to relate that to our own selves and our own experiences. So because this happens all the time, like when you, not only in your preaching activities, in your day-to-day life also, sometimes you don't say anything also, and then people can get offended. It's quite possible. So and then sometimes you say something also, people get offended. So how do you actually come to a balance? And so from what I have heard from Srila Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada's lectures, and also the conversations, and how I've seen my Prabhuji's preaching, I think the one thing I've learned is that if your heart is clean, if your purpose is clean, if you know what you're doing, is a sincere effort to preach and to further Srila Prabhupada's movement, then that satisfies Krishna. And anything that satisfies Krishna, then everyone else will be satisfied. There will always be differences there, because everybody thinks differently. Everybody is going through different situations. Everybody has different levels of experiences or sufferings going on in their life, different things going on in their life. And we don't necessarily know that, we can only assume that somebody is going through a good or bad time, but we don't know what, we cannot actually sit in the shoes of that other person. So we have to definitely consider these things when we are preaching. And I think Srila Gurudev very, very, I remember this instruction Srila Gurudev gave to my Prabhuji, that, that you have to walk like a lion, and you have, because in preaching, it attracts a lot of attention. So you have to walk like a lion, and then there will be dogs who will be barking. But what can you do, So I think from that point, what came about was that if your heart is clean, if your purpose is clear, and if your intention is to only further this movement to benefit the other living entities, then yes, there will be offenses, there will be differences and everything, and they have to be tolerated. I feel like that. So that is how relationships are built. When we all tolerate so many things from people that we probably would not even talk to, at our workplace or at other places. There's so much tolerance we all go through. And it's a good thing. It teaches you tolerance and patience. So that does not mean that you allow anybody to bully you or something like that. That does not mean that. So I felt like this point was very important, because this reference is there in Bhagavatam also, that, if you give water to the roots of the tree, then the whole tree gets the nutrients. And similarly, like Srila Prabhupada says, if you have to eat, you don't have to feed your hand separately and your leg separately. You just, everything goes in the stomach, and then all the other parts of the body are get the nutrients. So I think that at this point, I was thinking, sometimes in Krishna consciousness, we can come across situations where it might be very difficult to give a response or to react, or how do you react? So on that note, Srila Gurudev always says the best, that sometimes you want to retaliate and revolt, and how can someone say this to me? How can someone do this to me and everything? And that's all fine. But I just remember learning, even from my childhood days, my grandfather used to always teach us this, that my grandmother also actually, I have yet to see another person like my grandmother who had so much tolerance. I have not seen her speak, have a fight, or have anything with anyone whatsoever. And she was known for that. And that is a bit rare to achieve. But when we come across these situations, Srila Gurudev says that I try to implement this myself, that no retaliation is best retaliation, And what happens with that is that it helps us more than anyone else, because sometimes what happens is that as much as how someone says, it's also how we receive things, and then by receiving things incorrectly, we may think about a lot of things in our head as well. Oh, this is that is there, why like this, why not like that, and this may be because of that, and we're wasting our time and energy into all these thoughts, which then can lead us to a path of no return, or sometimes to a very dark place. And I personally feel that if we invest so much time in all these activities, then eventually it goes away anyway. And that's just the way. So we've started these weekend programs in 2002. So we have met so many different people from so many different facets of life. And everybody is different. That's the beauty of everyone, Krishna has made everyone different. Everybody has their own free will, independence to serve Krishna. And if there is one thing that I would really, really like to stress on this is because in our lives, we have, in our Krishna conscious life as well. I was, before coming to Krishna consciousness, I had the friends that I had, the relationships that I had with people. They were such wonderful relationships, even in the material world, even in my family or in my friends. And we did come across a lot of people who were probably people that you want to avoid. Then what was the solution? The solution was that we just avoided them. We didn't deal with them. Now, when you're into preaching, you can't necessarily do that. And it's not like, you have how you have a visa to go to a country. We don't do a credit check or anything when somebody comes. So we have to, because this is Krishna's home and Srila Prabhupada's home and Srila Gurudev's home, we just welcome everyone. And there are all types of people, all reasons why people come and all reasons why people go. And it's just ongoing following process. But what is steady in that is that your determination is to serve your spiritual master, in furthering this process of Krishna consciousness. And another quote by Srila Gurudev was, tolerate for Krishna. So I feel I'm saying this for myself, my personal experience and personal benefit, that if I keep that same approach, then it'll give me more tolerance to keep focus on my devotional service. Because I remember in even one more thing my Prabhuji always mentioned to us was that, you have to not think too much on a point which is not relevant in terms of your devotional service. You can't, when you are when you're thinking or when you're doing an activity, you ask yourself, is this helping me in my devotional service? If it's not, then you have to think whether you want to do it or not. So I always keep that in mind. It's very, very hard. And I feel that today, the way the world is going, there is always so much difficulty. And everybody is suffering. There's no question about it. Even people who are meeting at work, everyone is going through so many hardships. So I guess the lesson for me to learn is that just try to be more tolerant and understanding of everyone's situation, because it is becoming hard, even for us, when we like Path Prabhu said about the Shadam cooking. But I think all the Matajis, they're just so good. They're so exemplary in their Shadam, and so dedicated. They've all given their Saturdays, and I'm sure other days before, for preparation as well. And but it's just one of the things that helps in preaching activities. Like Srila Prabhupada said, preaching Shadam is our secret weapon. So yeah, so I just wanted to bring this point across. I felt like it's very, very important, and we all how Srila Prabhupada says, yes, we all are suffering, and we all need to have that tolerance, so we can further this most important Krishna conscious movement, and things which are very, very important to us today just fizzle out sometimes, and they become irrelevant also, as time is the best healer, or time is the best solution, you say. So yeah, I just felt like I should share this point about relationships, and how it can also affect some, like Path Prabhu also mentioned the point that sometimes when you are trying to have a conversation, then those things can also impact you. So how to what to take and what not to take. That I guess is also an art that we learn over time. But yeah, I just pray to Srila Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada and Lord Krishna that that he gives me more tolerance and patience, Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you very much. That was very nice. And that's true. People are generally very complicated. Now that we're becoming more complicated, including us. Post-COVID, it is very, very different. So we require that skill. Yeah. Very nice. Okay. Right. We'll wait for a little bit more time if someone wants to share the realization before we conclude. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Amrish Prabhuji, for arranging this program. Thank you for allowing us to sharing our realization. And thank you all the devotees for your nice realizations. I also like to share the realization about some experience in what we had in an India trip. So there was a day that we decided to go to the Pandharpur, and because we were having our online program and we started late from our home to go to Pandharpur, and then we reached there like around 4 p.m. sometime, and then we wanted to take a darshan, of course, and then we saw there's a big queue and it takes 4.5 hours to reach to take a darshan exact near to the DT that where they allow to touch the lotus feet of Lord Pandurang. And then whenever we visit India, we go there and we get that opportunity to go down, to touch our heads to Lord Pandurang's lotus feet. And this time we're like 4.5 hours, so it was really impossible to wait for that one, because we have to come back before the late night, because we were having Navina with us as well. And then there was two queues, that one goes to there and one you can get the darshan at least, but from the far way, far from the deities. And then we take the darshan from that line because it was short line and half an hour. But somehow, like, me and my Prabhuji felt, no, this is not, like, we want to go further inside and take the darshan actually near to the deities. And then there was a policeman was sitting there, and we asked him, can you please, like, let us somehow can go faster line or something. And then we went to the office, and he said, go to the office and talk to the people, they may help you. We went there, one of the office, and we asked them, is there anything like we have pass system or something like we can give some money and you can send us inside? And then I said, no, this is Pandharpur, the people come from far away from there by walk, and they wait for like 8 hours, 9 hours. And then we don't allow anybody to do like that, And then me and my Prabhuji was like, shocked. It's really good, that everyone should, spend their time there. Like whenever their time comes, they can go, like, they should spend their time on the queue, because it's really good system that they are not allowing anybody to go, like they're taking money and go up to there. So, but and then we decided, okay, that finally we decided, no, we have to go, so we can't go up to there. And then it's left in my heart like that this time we couldn't able to go there. So after a few days, we had to do the home program at Dehu. So we started journey. And then we decided first to go to the Arandi. Then when we go there was also long queue. And then I was like, and my Prabhuji was like a bit concerned about that we need to reach on time to that home program, because we had to go to the Dehu, from Arandi to Dehu, and then we want to take darshan at their temple. And then we have to go to their house, because after program, when we will not get a chance to go to the temple, by the time temple will be closed. And then I was like, my Prabhuji said, no, we can't go this in the queue again. And then I was like, we didn't get the darshan at Pandharpur, and then we not sure how busy in the Dehu temple, and then if we're not taking here as well, then it's not good. And that was our first time to visit Arandi temple. And I was like praying Krishna, please let us, go this time at least, whatever it is. And my Prabhuji was like, no, reaching on time at our home program, that's also very important, because devotees will come and they'll wait, and we have to go back to Pune, from Dehu to Pune, because that will be also late. So the Guru Maharaj's calendar, it says that when there is a sincere, heartfelt devotional service of prayer, Krishna definitely reciprocate. And then we decide, and then by the time we saw so much crowd, and then we decided, okay, we can't go in Arandi as well, we're coming back. And there's a security guard. We asked him how long it will take to reach there, and he said, maybe 1.5 hours, maybe. And then me was keep telling my Prabhuji that no, we can go, and he was so much in concern that no, we can't reach. And I said, no, we at least try, So we gone into the queue, and there, when we was standing in the queue, there was a group of the ladies. There were so many ladies were there. They were singing the Ovi or bhajan in Marathi language, but that Marathi language was really very old Marathi, like Prachin Marathi. We don't understand even that. So what we call it, very clear and Shuddha Marathi, like that. And when they were started the queue, they were in front of us, and they will keep singing until we reach to the Dhaneshwar Maharaj Samadhi. And then we reached like 40 minutes maybe. And then when they were singing and we were listening them all the way, it feels like that we reach in like 10-20 minutes only. And I was felt like, how sincere the ladies are, especially the ladies, when they are in the queue, they always talk, they gossip and all. But they were really very, very sincerely, they were singing. And I felt like, this is how we should be. like you are here to take a darshan, and you are really, want to take a darshan. So they are really sincerely, singing the bhajans and OV for Dhaneshwar Maharaj. And then I said I should learn something from that, So whenever we go to the temple and all, we should focus on our bhakti. And then somehow we got the darshan there, and I was so happy that it's Krishna's mercy that we finally take a darshan, and it was really very, very nice environment there, lots of devotees, and then they were doing their own abhangas and vani. Everything was really nice. And then after, when we go to the Dehu, there was not much crowd as well, and we got really nice darshan there as well. And so I was like, thank you, Krishna, that we able to take the darshan, and then we done the program. We reached to the home program also on time, and the program also went well. So I was like, remember that the Guru Maharaj always says that you pray sincerely, and then Krishna will really reciprocate. I wouldn't say that I am very sincere, but even if I pray a simple way, that Krishna already give us a chance to have a darshan. So that's my realization for today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mother. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for nice realization. Yeah, Pandharpur is a very special place. The Anand is a very special place. Only fortunate people can go there. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, I would like to wait for 10 more seconds if someone wants to share the realization before we finish today's program. Conclude today's program. Thank you. Okay, looks like we are concluding today's program then. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much to all you wonderful devotees for your wonderful realizations. It is very inspiring. We learn from each other, And it's not that only those who are new, they learn from the seniors. No. That duality doesn't exist in the spiritual world. No. In fact, youngsters are more enthusiastic, actually, Those who are new, they're more enthusiastic. Youngsters, those who are new are more enthusiastic. So it has to keep our those who are there for long in the moment, it keeps them on their feet, So I quite like these programs. It's just that there's such a big gap in between, because we have got other realizations also. We listen to Prabhupada's realization, and we give realization on that also. And Guru Maharaj's class, we realization there also. So yeah, we go as we go, So which is all right. Interactivity is good. All right, Hare Krishna. So whose turn is it today to sing?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. It was it's Madhav's turn, but he's not here. Maybe we can sing next week, Prabhuji.
Okay, all right. No problem. So who's going to sing today? Is Krishna going to sing then? Or Navina is going to sing? Where is Navina?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Navina. Kasha tumi? Bari ahat na?
हाँ बरी आहे तुम्ही कशी आहात
मी पण छान ठणठणीत आहे हा स्टोव मध्ये घरीच खेळायच्या बाहेर जायचं नाही
हाँ ठीक है
ठीक है अच्छा हाँ mummy is prompting you, huh? Okay, all right. So do with nice actions. Can everybody show your faces, please, if you can? That'll be wonderful. 1, 2, 3, start.
Maharaj, please hear us. We have learned some real good stuff. Maharaj, we have learned one thing. And today for you we will sing. If our room is clean, then our mind is clean. If our mind is clean, we can do anything. If our room is dirty, then so are we. And if we are dirty, we're not happy. Wasting time is the greatest crime. Because wasted time means a wasted mind. So best use your time when you're in your prime. And your whole life will be sublime. If the world is gone, then there's nothing wrong. But if your health is gone, that's a different song. But if your character dies, then the world will cry. Only saintly behavior, that's humanity die. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We must always remember Krishna. And never forget him too. But how are we to practice this with so many things to do? That is the greatest question. And here is the greatest clue. You must learn to work so nicely that Krishna remembers you. So listen very closely and make your thinking sharp. Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart. If something's due tomorrow, finish it today. And whatever's due today, do it now, don't delay. Your friends might be lazy or doing bad things. But if you think again, don't follow them.
Not but if you think again.
Win the end.
Say, no, 1 minute. Say, but you think again. No, if. Don't say, but if you think again.
I'm just focused on mute.
No, I'm not mute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, my laptop was muted.
Okay, no. Now say, but you think again.
But you think again.
Say, don't follow them.
Don't follow them, and you will win the end. Whatever work we're given, and do our very best. We only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest. This is how to live, to work and to play. If you learn to live this way, we'll see Krishna every day. And when the time is up, he'll take us of a path. We'll sing and dance with him with our hearts full of love. So chant Krishna's name, his glory and his fame. It's the only way this world will ever become same. Now please ask this greatest question and find this greatest clue. You can only remember Krishna if Krishna remembers you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jagat Guru His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Nitai Gaur Chandra Premanande
Hari
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 Bol.
Jananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Namo Vishnupada Krishna Bhutala Srimati Mahavishnu Goswami Namine. Namo Vishnupada Krishna Bhutala Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaur Vani Prasarine Nirvishesh Shunari Prasarine Sarine. Hare Krishna. With this we conclude today's program. Thank you very much for everyone's participation. And we'll see you, Krishna willing, next week, same place, same time. Till then, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Those who are living in New Zealand, in the misery that we have been facing in Northland area and Auckland, please be safe. It's not, it's going to be tough, difficult next 24, 36, 48 hours, with a storm and all. Okay, Hare Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Babuji. Thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.